niggas? You're watching Fugitive Redeye, and welcome to another episode of Redeye Raw. So, I was prompted to make this one due to some rather bad news for a channel I really like. So, a while back when I reviewed 1984, I mentioned that the version of the book I have listened to recently was the audiobook by Steve Parker Audiobooks on YouTube. And I'd mentioned that 1984 was in the public domain. It is in Australia. I guess it's not in the US? Everything I looked up online gave me the implication that it was. But I guess, like, channels have been starting to get, like, demonetized or taken down or have problems due to, like, stuff from HarperCollins, like, getting on them about 1984. But it's like, dude, this book was written in 1948. What the fuck are you doing? Like, when things enter the public domain, I feel like they should enter the public domain everywhere. Because, like I said, apparently it's not in the US, so good thing I never tried anything with that, I guess. I mean, I'm still going to do all the Lovecraft stuff that's in public domain, obviously, at some point. I still need to finish Shadow over Innsmouth. But it's just crazy to me that something can go into the public domain in one area, but not another. I think that once it's been, like, and I think this is being pretty generous. I think once something has been out for, like, 20 years, public domain should apply. Like, I know that's, like, nothing, like, that's not even close to what we're at now. I mean, 1984 came out considerably longer ago than that, right? Came out in 1948. So, long time ago. But, to say that it's not in the public domain here, fuck you. Why? It's an old book that everyone knows. Once something has become so culturally significant, it's there. And, like, if the creators want to go on and do more with it, guess what? Do a new thing. Do a sequel. Simple as that. Or, you know, sell merchandise. Sell copies of it yourself. But why, what? Like, that's the thing I've never understood. Because I'm not a big fan of intellectual property anyway, right? Like, I've always thought intellectual property as a concept was kind of innocuous and stupid, right? Like, I don't think the idea of you owning the rights to something in, like, just because you created it or whatever, I think that's weird. I've never been a fan. Like, I don't like plagiarism. I don't like people stealing other people's ideas and profiting off them. But I think once something's out there, it's out there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a big fan of copyright. I'm not a big fan of it as a concept. I definitely think I would be willing to compromise and say, hey, have copyright for a certain time, and then things enter the public domain. I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair. And I do think that the original creator should always be credited regardless. But Orwell's been dead for a long time. And it was published very long ago, right? Like, shortly after, like, just a few years after World War II. So, it's ridiculous to me that something like that could get people in trouble on YouTube. So, Steve Parker Audiobooks had to take down his audiobook of 1984. Which is my favorite version of 1984. Now, since it is public domain in Australia, he still sells it on his website. So I went ahead and I bought it on his website outright the second I saw that video. Because I'm like, I gotta own this. This is like the best version of the story I've ever heard. So, I did that. Apparently, like, he's probably also going to take down Animal Farm once he finishes it. I haven't really been listening to his Animal Farm one because I was waiting for the full version to come out. But he said that's probably never going to see the light of day. So I might end up buying that in the future from his website as well. But yeah, I think like 20 years, maybe 30. I mean, hell, 50, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, 50 would be generous. I mean, it's been well over 50 since 1984. So if you want to go all crazy, even 50 I think would be reasonable. But something as old as 1948. 49 technically with the publication date, I think. So, whatever. Point is, it's still been well over 50 years. Because 50 years from then would have been 99, right? It's 23 years from that. It's been out for 73 years. And they're still trying to get on people for the copyright. Fuck you. I've never understood that. Because, again, like I said, I think to own a concept is insane to me. Like, I think people should be credited for their ideas. I think people who, like, write something and publish it, they should get the money for it at first. But, like, once it's out there, it's out there. Like, I don't know, it's just copyright as a concept has always been insane to me. And just how protective some things get over their copyright. Like, how the fuck does Disney still own the copyright or trademark to Mickey Mouse? That character has existed for fucking ever. I'd understand if they still had the rights to new Mickey Mouse material, like if they made new movies of Mickey Mouse and stuff. I'd understand them, you know, in theory having the rights. Again, I don't like the idea of copyright, but I'm more understanding if it's a new thing, right? I get it that in that case. But like Steamboat Willie and shit should be public domain. Right? Or like the early Goofy shorts, or you know, Looney Tunes, all that. Like, I mean, Looney Tunes isn't Disney, it's Warner Brothers, but I think this shit should all be public domain. When it's this culturally significant, it's been around this long, and with how important of a book 1984 is, too, right? Like I said, it is my favorite book of all time, and I think it's one of the most important books ever written. And like I said, the Steve Parker audiobooks version is my favorite version. I think of Orwell when I think of the book, because he's the one who wrote it. But Steve Parker's the voice I hear when I'm thinking of the story now, because he did such a good job. You know, he had a couple of different actors do some of the other voices. He had sound effects, music, atmosphere. I think it's ridiculous, because, like, they already sell official versions of the audiobook on Audible. So why are you going after him? Like, you're still making money on this shit. You don't even have to do anything. Why are you getting mad at people who make stuff when you're already profiting in your own way? Like, you could argue, oh, well, he's taken away from sales. No, he's not. Anyone who's into 1984 probably already owns a copy. Like I said, it is one of the most culturally significant books ever written. So to try and act like this would somehow hurt these sales of something that was written 73 years ago is ridiculous to me. Yeah, I think public domain should take effect at least after 50 years. I think, again, that's being super charitable. I'd say 20, but 50, fine. But no, you gotta go way the fuck back. And that's insane to me. Like I said, like, I'm glad that most of Lovecraft stuff is in the public domain. That's probably just what I'll stick to with my readings. Like, granted, he did say that the channel that, like, prompted him to take his down got demonetized. So that's fair. Like, I mean, that's not that it's fair. I think that's bullshit. Let me rephrase. So, like, if I upload a story or something and it got demonetized, that wouldn't matter, because if people, like, I don't give a shit when my shit gets ads put on it by other places, right? Because, like, there's been so many of my anime reviews or movie reviews or stuff like that, well, not so many, but there's been a few here and there that have copyright claims that have ads run on them, and I don't give a shit because I don't monetize this channel. That's not my goal. But for Steve Parker, this is his fucking job. And you're taking away his income over something that's older than fucking most people on the internet. Like, that's ridiculous to me. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I think public domain should apply to everything after a certain point. I think it should apply to games. I think it should apply to movies, TV shows, books, music, everything. And don't even get me started on fucking music people and their protection of copyright. They're the worst. Music artists are the most entitled fuckers when it comes to their copyrights. It's ridiculous. Like, you could be reviewing a song, you pause it every second, you cut out a good chunk of it, but just because you play a little clip, they'll freak the fuck out because they're little bitches and think that they're more creative than people who write shit or make movies and shit. Like, music artists think that they are more significant in their creation than other forms of art, and I think that's just retarded. But that's a whole other rant. I'm pretty sure I went on it before when I did the episode talking about why I don't really care that much about music. Not to say that I don't like music, because I do. But anyway, yeah, really pissed me off, so I went ahead and bought the download of 1984 from Steve Parker's website, because I wanted to support him, and I want to own that copy. That's such a good version of the book. Easily the best version. Anyway, this has been Fugitive Redeye. Have a good one. Toodles. Michael Jackson's Seaman.